The Federal Reserve has just cut the growth of the US economy in half. In half. And then Fed President Kashkari comes out and says this: commercial real estate a risk. Expect big losses. Well, I guess now we know why Michael Burry's biggest position is now gold. Gold tends to outperform in times of recessions. Sounds scary? Well, get prepared and understand and become the best informed investor out there. But to really get prepared, you need to learn how to insure your portfolio. And you can do that for free with my free full guide, which you can download at felixfriends.org/hedge. And why am I sharing it? Because I'm lucky to learn how to manage risk as a former banker, and you should have the same knowledge. Heck, this should be taught in kindergarten, seriously. But let's get back to the story. You would expect banks to tighten their belts and be more careful with lending and maybe therefore tank the economy even further as we head into a recession. But wait, Morningstar just reported this. One of the biggest US lenders is offering a 0% down payment mortgage for first-time home buyers. 0% down payment. Well, home buyers will basically be able to buy a home without putting a single cent of their own money down under a new program launched by United Wholesale Mortgage, which is one of the largest US mortgage lenders. They're Michigan-based, and these mortgages will be available to first-time home buyers and anybody who's earning at or below 80% of an area's median income. So basically people who earn less than what most people are. That's the press release from these guys. They're listed, by the way, UWMC, if you want to short a stock, not financial advice. Now, they will give borrowers an extra additional $15K down payment assistance. And what are you going to do for it? Well, you got to pay 3% extra of the home purchase price as a fee down the road, not right now. There'll be no interest. There'll be no monthly payments. And they say home ownership is something we're very passionate about. This is the chief operating officer over there, Melinda Wilner. And previously, you had to put down 1% on your home. Apparently, that was too much for people in Michigan. And they wanted to further help home buyers get on the ladder. And they're expecting higher volume of borrowers with this new zero down program. Now, does this remind you of something? Do you remember?
$1 billion.
That's right. But we got to close out our position or it could be zero. I mean, it's now or never, Mark.
Sell it all.
The 2008 subprime mortgage crisis, which tumbled the world into the global financial crisis. What caused it? Well, poor underwriting practices would be the polite way of putting it, or just outright fraud. But essentially, banks were lending money to people who couldn't afford it. And, well, the loans were a little different. Unlike the low and no down payment loans that we had a lot doing that time, when lenders made loans to people who basically were completely unable to pay them, UWM is different, according to UWM. Does this not sound exactly like 2008, when they were lending to people who couldn't afford to buy a house and somehow thought miraculously they'd find the money, or maybe they just didn't care because they were selling those loans repackaged off to unsuspecting borrowers all around the world and infected the entire banking system? Look at where we are right now. Housing prices are stretched. The economy is slowing. The Fed just said it. They were expecting 4% growth this year. Now it's 2%. And lenders have no cushion against falling home prices. Banks are already in the red, to the tune of about $500 billion, and that's going to get a lot worse. There are indications that home prices are starting to fall in some markets. Okay, so we don't have these complete scam loans that we did have in 2008, but mortgageability is at the lowest level since when? Winston? ever, he says. Unemployment started to pick up, despite the government's best efforts to keep that under wraps. So really, it's kind of anything to keep the bubble going. And to top it off, these mortgages are explicitly made for people who make 80% or less than an area's median income. That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. In general, such borrowers have no down payment. If they have any savings at all, probably don't. They're probably living already on the edge of financial life. It would really make more sense giving these mortgages to those who make more than the area's median income, provided they have not a lot of debt and they could actually possibly afford it because they actually have that income. So what is this all about? Well, it's just idiocy, really. Now, El Presidente, and I have no particular view on US politics, couldn't care either way. It is entertaining who you elect and the two choices you're about to make. But President Joe Biden has asked Congress to provide $25,000 in down payment assistance for first-generation home buyers. And, well, what is that? That's vote buying, isn't it, really? To keep the economy humming along enough to win the election and basically at the expense of everybody else. Now, what if you get that 25K? What if you take this 100% mortgage? What if you lose your job unexpectedly? Well, you're going to throw these people over the edge, over the cliff, literally. And there are a lot of signs that the economy is slowing down. Look at some of the data. We had another massive revision on durable goods orders, not the most sexy thing in the world, but it's important. The Commerce Department revised down their durable goods orders by about 2 percentage points last month. We have home sales dropping 4.7% and lots more revisions down there. Discretionary spending has tumbled at stores like Target. Their shares dropped 10%. The Target CEO said, continued soft trends in discretionary categories is what we see, which is basically saying people ain't buying stuff they don't need. And continued is the worrying part there. We've had 17 months of home sales, existing home sales falling. And at the same time, the median home price is actually up 4.8% from last year, which is kind of bonkers. So it becomes less affordable. There are less sales. The inventory of unsold homes has climbed 9% from a month ago, which kind of shows people can't afford them. And then we've got these massive, big revisions to monthly jobs data, which sort of show a crack in the fudgery, the manipulation that the government is up to keep a lid on the actual deterioration in the jobs market. So very likely, the job reports we have for last year and this year are wildly overstated. You just look at the National Home Price Index. Right? There's a Case-Shiller National Home Price Index. It's sort of the reference to go to. The latest data, well, it's up insanely. This isn't inflation, by the way. Inflation isn't calculated with this in mind. Other than the late stages of the 2008 housing bubble, there has honestly never been a worse time in history to offer people 0% down mortgages. So why is it happening? Because banks and lenders have no incentive to do the responsible thing. They know if their cock up is large enough, the government will step in. There is no risk. They're not going to get fired. They still get their bonuses and everything is hunky-dory. So they're just going to keep selling and selling and selling exactly like it happened in 2008. So you and me have one job to do. We have to protect our portfolio. The way to do that is to learn how to do insurance for your portfolio. It's called hedging. I used to work at the hedge fund desk of an investment bank. That's what I learned. I give you that knowledge completely for free. Just go to felixfriends.org/hedge, download it, read it. There is a video in there. Watch that. Read it again. If it doesn't make any sense, ping me a message in the comments down below. I'd be delighted to answer all your questions. And if you enjoy this video, if you get some value out of this, then share it with a friend or even a golden retriever. I love you for watching. Keep learning, keep getting smarter, protect your money, and don't trust the government or banks or anybody else in the system to do it for you. In this video, my chief financial analyst Tallulah and I are going to be showing you a full cheat sheet on exactly how we trade the S&P 500 options. And not only am I going to show you the main strategy I use to trade the S&P, but I'm also going to show you the exact trades I took in the last few days, how much money I made,